Hey y'all, happy Saturday. Thought I'd do a video a day early this week since tomorrow's Mother's Day. So happy early Mother's Day to all you moms out there. So last week I said I was just going to kind of fast forward and talk about when I decided to get the eye injections for the mild eye disease of diabetes they saw in my eyes, and how that kind of then affected other things and made a domino effect after that I felt was coincidental. So back in September 2019, that's when my eye doctor was telling me that I needed to get eye injections in my eye, basically like a steroid to not lose vision in my eyes. Because what was happening in my eyes was that there was slight detaching of my retinas. And so that's what in the back of your eye helps basically see through the lens of your eye. When that detaches, then the eye goes black. You don't see anything because then the lens is detached. And so to prevent that, they were talking about doing eye injections, which then would also allow extra blood vessels that were growing that were not supposed to be there, that would stop them from growing. And I was very hesitant because it sounded so scary to have an injection in your eye. She didn't really explain further of how the injection was. She just said that they would numb it and that I wouldn't feel anything. But it's just like, okay, that's not very helpful or make me feel easier about it, So I was like, well, I need some time to think about it, and I'll call back to schedule an appointment. So a few months went by, and she called me like every month to try to schedule, and I'm like, well, I don't have any issues seeing, so I don't think I want to do it right now, and I'll call when I'm ready. So then sometime I think in about December, my eye swole up so bad that I couldn't see. It was swollen. I went to the ER. ER was like packed and moving so slow. And I was like maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, and Darren was with me. And we sat there until about 3 o'clock, and I'm like, still haven't been seen. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go home. I'm make a doctor appointment to be seen in the morning. So we left, and I made an appointment to be seen that morning about 8 o'clock. So we went back, and she looked at my eye, and she was like, yeah, you just need to do the injections because it's going to keep happening. And I'm just like, oh, my God. So after the swelling went down, I went back. I went ahead and went with the injection. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. They, clean the eyelid. They give you some numbing drops. Then they give you an injection that numbs the eye. And then they give you the medication with an injection. And what I saw was like swirls of the medication in my eye. But I also could see the blood that was in the back of my eye kind of disperse and move. And it was kind of crazy. So that happened. And then after I got that eye injection, things just started kind of being a little different. I woke up one morning on my way to work, and I was like, man, this is great. Like, I'm seeing really good. This is the best I've been seeing in a while. I was getting ready. I got out the shower. I was getting ready. And I started driving to work, and then all of a sudden, I could not see out of my eye, out of one of my eyes. I was still seeing out of one because I went to put my sunglasses on, and I kind of blocked my vision of one of my eyes when I was putting my sunglasses on. I was like, whoa, I can't see anything. So I kind of pulled over. I wasn't that far from home. I maybe was like 2 exits away. So I got off the exit and I turned around and I came home. And how I got home, because my vision was very blurry and stuff, was I followed like a big rig down off the freeway, and it was going the same way as my home, so I followed him all the way down, and kind of by memory I remember like where to turn, but I couldn't see anything. So then I had to make a doctor's appointment, and I went back, and that's when they were like, well, you know what, we need to do surgery on your eye. And I'm just like, what? Like, the shit was crazy. So I'm like, I gotta get surgery on my eye, like there's nothing else we can do. So that was a little discouraging, very disappointing. And so in the midst of that, I'm now working with, at that time I'm working with a new nephrologist who ran some tests, and again, a nephrologist for your kidneys, who ran some tests, and he was like, yeah, Kaya, we need to start our options about dialysis. I'm like, why? He's like, because your kidneys are, functioning at less than 10%. And when that happens, that means that, at any time they can just stop working altogether. So having this information along with the information about my eyes and having to have surgery on my eyes, it was just so overwhelming. So overwhelming. And it wasn't like I had time to think about it anymore. At this point, I thought, I had time. Like I said, you think that at a young age you have all this time, but things can happen at any age. And so he was going over my options about what kind of dialysis that we can do, how it works. He set up a meeting for me to go to DaVita to meet with them so they can kind of show me how everything would work. Technology is crazy now that they have dialysis where you can do it at home and different kinds. There's a lot of people who just know about hemodialysis where you go into the center and they do basically like a blood transfusion type of thing. But now they have it where you can do what is called peritoneal dialysis, where it's just a solution base of basically like sugar water, I'll call it. And it's a port in the stomach. And so they give that option to a lot of people who have a better chance of getting a kidney transplant, or are younger in age, who have more, life expectancy left. So we decided that was the option for me. And so we had planned to have surgery for that port to be put in. Mind you, this surgery for the dialysis port plus the surgery for my eyes were like a month apart. I've never had any broken bones, any major surgeries in my life ever. So all of this happening at the same time, I have to have these multiple surgeries back to back. It just was crazy and coincidental again for me. It's like, damn, like, how's all of this happening at one time? Like, I'm trying to think of everything to blame it on. And then I sat back and I'm like, this is your fault. Like, you can't blame this shit on nobody else. You didn't do nothing you were supposed to do when you were a teenager, and it's a lag effect. For you not doing what you're supposed to do, not taking care of your diabetes the way you're supposed to, the lag effect of behind the scenes of what was happening to your body slowly, even though you felt okay, is ultimately, your fault, and so I had to take accountability for it. I couldn't no longer feel like blaming everybody else or anybody else for what I know now was, in the long run, my fault. And so now I just had to deal with the fact that I'm going to have to do dialysis. I'm going to have these eye surgeries. And so, I don't think I went into a real deep depression, but I was a little depressed, only because, you're so used to doing things and being so independent. And I went from being so independent and doing everything on my own to having to depend on everybody to do something for me, which was very hard for me. I've always had a hard time asking for help or allowing people to help me. So it became very difficult to know that in just a short amount of time, I was going to be dependent on other people to do things for me. So just the down spiral of everything happening kind of at the same time for me was so hard. And that's why I wanted to do this journey and make these videos, because I know so many young ladies, and other people who have diabetes who just kind of go with the flow and don't really do what they're supposed to do. And, because they believe they have that time. And I'm here to tell you, man, that time is not promised, because the lag effect of what happens to our bodies when we have type 1 diabetes, we may feel fine on the outside, but things are happening that we don't know slowly. And so I just really ask that you guys take care of yourself, that you do your follow-ups and your checkups like you're supposed to do on your eyes and your kidneys and just on everything you're supposed to do. Do a little more research about what the insulin does, how it affects your body, how you need to eat to try to make sure that you can take as least or less of that medication that you can. Because the more we depend on it, the more we're going to have to depend on other medications. Again, it's not a cure. It's just a Band-Aid. It's just a temporary fix. And so if we can do more research and find out how to do a longer lasting cure of just eating correctly and, taking care of our bodies, exercising, doing the things that are beneficial for us in the long run. Like I said in my first couple of videos, we got to do what's right for us now for our older selves. And so I just want to stress that so much to everybody. Any type of disease, anything, if you just stress can add so much in so many other type of conditions. So I just wanted to really stress that. Next week, I'll talk about when I got my surgery, like everything coming up with my surgery for my dialysis port, following my eye surgery, and the outcome of the eye surgery, and how everything went starting with my dialysis. So, again, thank you guys always for liking, following, subscribing, and sharing. See you guys next week, and God bless. Again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.